movie fans? Welcome to Cold and Trash Horror Movie Grind the Podcast. I am your host, Ian. This is the show in which we grind on the absolute worst horror and sci-fi movies we can find and make fun of just how bad they are, as well as praise the good, cool classics that have been lost throughout time. Now get ready, because we're about to dive real deep inside of Hollywood's dumpster in search of the good, the so bad it's good, and the fucking ugly. Now put on your seatbelt, grab a beer or two, and enjoy the show. Yo, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, 1986. This is my favorite one. I mean, we all know that the first original one by Toby Hooper is the best one. We know this. Maybe you could say that the remake in 2003 or whatever is also the best. Whatever. But on this show, Cult and Trash, we all know that number 2 is the best one. Why? Bill Moseley, Dennis Hopper. It's great. It's a fun, cheesy, kind of campy, but also really fucked up, psychotic whole thing. So yeah, we love that show. Bree is here. What's up, Bree?
Hello. How's it going?
How you doing? I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Good. Glad to be back. As you know, I am definitely a far out fan of the show.
That nice. I like that. That's a callback to Bill Moseley, Chop Top, what he
Oh yeah.
says. Yeah, I've got that clip actually, but I'll play it a little bit later.
Perfect.
Um, so let me ask you, what was your introduction to this movie?
I had seen it quite a few years ago. I kind of got on the whole, when you get like super obsessed with like different horror movies and they're like, okay,
Oh,
I've got to consume all of the media.
yeah.
So I did that a couple years ago, forgot about it, and then I ended up rewatching it recently after you said we were going to be reviewing it, and I'm like, holy shit, this is worse than I remember.
That's exactly what Sloan said. Sloan was supposed to join us. He
Yeah.
couldn't make it today. His band, Caustic Cadavers, is actually playing a show tonight, right now as we speak. So he
Hope he
couldn't
breaks a
join.
leg.
But he, it was funny is his guitarist did that at their last show.
Oh
He
shit.
literally broke his leg in the mosh pit. And Sloan himself, he got in the mosh pit of another band. He got headbutted in the mouth. Um,
That's when you know it's a good concert.
right. But yeah, he said the exact same thing. It was worse than he remembered. And see that's what like the second viewing does to you, because that's what I said during my second viewing. But then my third and fourth one, I was like, wait, this is better than I remembered. I don't know, something about that second viewing is just like, oh, like this is crap. But then after that, it's like, oh no, this is good. This is good. How would you rate this among the other Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies?
I mean, just like you said, obviously the first one, I believe the original by Toby Hooper is obviously the best, just from like the cinematography standpoint and the fear factor. If we're talking like the worst of like the Chainsaw Massacres, I gotta get place it first.
You said, wait, you said that this is the worst one? Okay, get the fuck out of here. All right. No, I'm kidding, but really?
I mean, it's so campy. Like, I mean, if we're saying like production value, I mean, come on. The acting, Bill Moseley.
Acting is great. Bill Moseley is amazing.
Oh my god, it's so fucking corny. But I don't want to spoil it. I will give my critiques for sure later. I don't want to spoil the whole show in
Yeah,
4 minutes.
but I mean, did you see the fourth one, Next Generation? I mean, that one's clearly worse than this one.
Like
Or
Generation number 3, the 2003 reboot. Netflix's coming one is going to be terrible, but I'm still going to fucking watch it. Let's be real. I'm going to watch it.
well, yeah, no, yeah. It's weird. Have you noticed that like all the all these movies lately in the past year have like the original protagonist is like, I'm back and only I can get rid of him. That seems to
Yeah.
be what this one is. Like Scream is
Scream,
doing it. Halloween is doing
Halloween.
it.
Oh, what? We're just on the same wavelength here. Wow.
Except for it's the best one, not the worst one. What
Okay.
about Texas Chainsaw 3D, the one that came out in 2013? That one was terrible.
I don't think I actually watched that. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
well, that's
Alright.
probably the worst one.
Okay. I'll watch that and then I will rate that the worst one, undoubted. I mean, how do you even do, like, Leatherface in 3D?
It's just I don't know. I didn't watch it in 3D.
Oh, is it like the My Bloody Valentine 3D where you don't actually watch it in 3D, but it's just terrible?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. I
fair
mean,
enough.
it's got Trey Songz in it, so that speaks for itself.
Okay.
But anyway, we've got another guest coming up. Actually, the man who introduced me to this movie. Good friend of mine from a long time ago. He's making his first appearance on the show. Hopefully, be many others. He has his own YouTube channel, which is not movie related at all, but it's called Your Tap Water's Crack. Dustin, welcome to the show. We seem to have lost your video.
Hold on here. There we go.
All right, cool.
There it is.
I don't know what happened. Hey, what's happening, man? Glad to be here.
Yeah, glad to have you. Yeah, like I said, you introduced me to this movie, the original movie. We actually watched both the same night in a row. This was many years ago. You introduced me to Society. You introduced me to a couple of the Return of the Living Dead movies. A whole bunch of good campy great horror movies. I mean, I can say that you're like a father to me. In a way.
Oh, man, I appreciate it. I definitely considered you someone that I would report to watch movies with that I knew would enjoy what I like.
Yeah, for sure. No, we've had some good times. Like, yeah, you'll be like, you'll just hit me up randomly. It's like, hey, come over. I'm like, okay. And then I just sit down on your couch, and you're just like, I'm putting in this movie you've never seen before. And I'm just like, cool.
Oh, man, when you had told me you hadn't seen any of the Leatherface, I was like, okay, we're not just going to watch it. First, I need to order you some copies. So I went on Amazon, paid for overnight shipping, got you a couple copies for yourself.
Yeah.
And then
we
drank beer all night and watched them.
Yeah, we watched the original one and the sequel, and then you gave me my own copy of the remake, which I watched at home.
That's right.
Yes.
And now I'm mad at myself that I never showed you part 3 because nobody can seem to find it, and of course I still own it.
Yeah. Bree, did you watch that one?
I have not, just in the fact that, just like Dustin pointed out, it is so hard to find.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. You can
This
only
one was hard to
rent it
find
at this
too.
point.
I don't know why they're making it so difficult.
Meanwhile, the first movie is on like every single streaming service. I found it on Amazon, Tubi, Shudder. Like I found the first movie, no issue.
That's just
It's crazy.
a really good horror movie. I
It's true.
mean, yeah.
See, this is where buying thousands of movies in my 20s paying off.
Hey, so why don't you tell us what your Tap Water's Crap is? What's that all about?
Oh, it's completely not movie related. I breed and build ecosystems for fish and exotic shrimp, and I teach people how to do it, along with cracking jokes and doing it in unorthodox ways, so you're not just listening to some guy in his early 40s talk about fish.
What's unorthodox?
Well, I guess you would have to watch it. I'm a bit eccentric, so when I'm talking, you're not sure whether to take me seriously or if I'm just bullshitting.
Yeah,
but
Yeah,
I do tell the facts. I just tell them strangely.
That's Dustin. Yeah. So check if I guess if you're into that, if anybody listening wants to start their own aquarium ecosystem thing, check out his channel. Your tap water is crap, and it's a good how-to.
That's
Yeah.
one behind me.
Yeah.
Underwater Florida.
Nice. Yeah, it seems to be growing popular really quick too.
Yeah, I've been running it for 5 months now. There's still no animals in it.
Cool. Well, why did you name it Your Tap Water is Crap?
I named it Your Tap Water is Crap because the tap water here where I live in Painesville, Minnesota is absolutely terrible. And it runs through a softener. And because of this, it adds a lot of salt and sodium to your tap water, which if you're trying to sustain freshwater animals and plants, they're not going to survive. So I call it Your Tap Water is Crap.
So don't use tap water.
Right, don't use tap water. I mean, unless your water comes out of a spring, I teach everyone just stay away from it.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Right on. All right. Well, so back to this topic. What was your So as we said, you were my introduction to the franchise and this movie specifically. What was your introduction?
It was more organic. The first horror movie I ever saw, and it was by accident. It was playing late on TV. I think I was 8 years old at the time, and a horror movie came on called Demon Wind, which came out in 1990, and it was kind of a ripoff of the Evil Dead series. But it somehow worked, and it was really scary for me. I was 8 years old at the time, and it gave me nightmares for a couple weeks, and I actually enjoyed my scary nightmares. I was like getting entertained every night, and I got to see more. So I, on my own, started digging through every horror movie imaginable.
Nice. Okay, so I guess pretty soon after then, you discovered Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Right. I can't tell you exactly when, because the copious amount of movies I watched on a daily, all the way up to now, for years, it happened somewhere in there.
Right, I gotcha. And so I guess would it be fair to say that you saw the first one, then you were just like, I'll probably watch the second one after that, and just went that way?
No, I saw the second one first, and I don't remember where. I know it was by myself, but because of the popularity of that one, it was more readily available to see on TV. And I saw that, and then I had to see them all. I've been a fan ever since. I've got all of the movies. Leatherface, Part 2. Leatherface from the very original.
That's pretty dope.
Yep, and Leatherface from beginning.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I know you, so I already knew about this, but yeah, you've got. Before we started recording, I was telling Bree here of how, like, if you were to go to your house, there's just a wall of action figures just still in their boxes. Just all the you've got everybody. You got Leatherface, you've got Jason, you've got Freddy Krueger, you've got Ash.
Those are the obvious, all the way to some that people don't know anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a museum. Like, I remember me and Jake, we used to just go to your house, and we would just, like, spend a good half hour looking through all your action figures, then looking through all your Blu-rays, and then...
So last year, I sold 20 of them to pay for my honeymoon, and I made over $3,000.
Damn. Of the action figures? Yeah, I believe that. I mean... Yeah.
Unopened? Absolutely.
I sold the ones that were least important to me and that I don't stare at more than the others.
Would you say that those ones Or what do you think are worth more? Like, is it the Leatherfaces or the more obscure ones?
It depends on the demand. Whatever's popular at the time is going to go up. So, like right now, because there's a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre series happening, that would drive the interest of unopened action figures for Leatherface above like Freddy Krueger or Jason.
Makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of which, what do you all think about the new trailer coming for the new Netflix? Actually, by the time that this episode comes out, it will already be out, so it's out now. But Bree, you said that it looks pretty terrible.
No, I think it looks good, but trailers are certainly deceiving.
Yeah,
Like it's the whole there's a bunch of kids, but they're glued to their technology. Like
see
I hate
that's
that
what the
concept.
2013 one was all about. There were cell phones everywhere.
I hate that concept so much, but like, see, I think it's gonna be good in the gore factor, just because that part where Leatherface takes
the
that
bus.
dude in the
Yeah.
bus up, that looks great.
That
I
looks
know,
pretty
like in
good.
my heart, I'm gonna be disappointed, but damn, at least it'll be fun to watch, even if it's bad.
Yeah. What about you, Dustin?
I go into everything with a lot of optimism. I never assume something's going to be terrible, and I'll avoid trailers and stuff like that. So I don't have expectations somewhere that could disappoint me. But also, I'm very aware that movies need to keep up with modern times. So in order for them to draw in a new audience, if phones are what's important and the kids are focused on that, they have to include that to attract a new audience. And fans get upset when they change things, but that's just how it is.
True.
Okay.
Fair. Yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement there. Like I don't know. I don't personally. I don't care anything about new horror movies. Like I have not seen the Halloween ones. I haven't seen Scream. I just don't care. But I care about the old ones, the cult classic ones. In fact, we'll watch the trailer to the one we're talking about now, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, right here.
"13 years ago, audiences across America were horrified by the savagery of a faceless killer.
See, what I appreciate about this is that it's like
In the wake
old
of this
grindhouse
bizarre
style
rampage, he vanished.
It's not showing the entire movie in one
No.
trailer.
It's not showing anything.
After more than
Exactly.
a decade of silence, he has come out of hiding. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. The Buzz is back. Directed by Toby Hooper.
That's punny.
This whole movie is full of such great one-liners. It fits perfectly.
Honestly, I couldn't see it on my end, but the amount of times I've seen the trailer and the actual movie, it really doesn't matter. I could play the whole thing in my head from start to finish.
Yeah. I mean, it just showed a picture of a chainsaw, basically, and then that was it.
Oh, no shit. It showed some chainsaws, huh?
Yeah.
All right, hold on while I go execute myself.
Well, all right, let's get into it. So this is a direct sequel from the first one. We've got the same characters, including the dead hitchhiker who got hit by a truck. He's seen throughout as a corpse, and his twin brother Chop Top shows up, and played by Bill Moseley. And I love Chop Top. Like they're just like, we want the hitchhiker, but he died. So what do we do? Oh,
bro, his head got totally ran over and collapsed like a watermelon.
Yeah. Well, his corpse is throughout the movie. Like they're like Chop Top is like dancing with it throughout the movie. But yeah, his twin brother, who was in Vietnam at the time, shows up, and now he's back. And I really love Bill Moseley. I saw this movie much after House of 1,000 Corpses, where Bill Moseley plays Otis, and you can tell that Otis is very much influenced by Chop Top. I mean, it's the same actor, but Rob Zombie was probably just like, yeah, play Chop Top.
Oh, absolutely. His mannerisms were identical, and I think that's just part of him. It's his nature.
Exactly. Yeah, like so I've got a clip right here.
Why is not the question. How? Now, that is a question worth examining. How could I, being born...
Also, the cinematography is very similar, like the intense red lights and everything.
An escapist from a conformist world.
That looks exactly like Chainsaw Massacre too.
Oh yeah.
I brought you here for a reason, but unfortunately, you and your sentimental minds are doing me no good.
He just seems to be ranting about war to be the same exact character.
I have to break free from this culture of mechanical reproductions and the thick
He's equally crazy. Like Otis is very equally crazy to Chop Top, but he's more, I guess, structured, more put together. You know, he's like Chop Top is like a cartoon character basically. He's just all over the place, jumping around, and Otis is more like serious, but still like equally insane.
Well, one of the things I really love about Bill Moseley in both those roles is that the way he's able to capture being so casual in a situation that is horrifying. You know what's going to end in film, but he's not just no big deal. This is just what I do.
Yeah, for sure. So Bree, what was your thoughts on Chop Top?
I loved him. The first scene that he was technically like in, where he's like chopping up the car. What a way to be introduced.
Oh yeah.
Also, that's the scene where I realized, oh shit, this is in fact Tom Savini's makeup work.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can tell.
I did not realize that the first time I saw it, but like once Chop Top, sliced that dude's head open, I was like, oh
well,
yeah.
Actually,
Tom
that
Savini.
was Leatherface who did that.
Shit, was it?
Yeah.
Everybody's just dragging around this corpse then. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so which I love that scene. So because we see this truck that's like fucking with them, and then you just see the corpses all out, just like dancing around. But that's Leatherface behind him. I mean, he's got the chainsaw, and
I don't know why
he does his signature Leatherface jig, where he's got the chainsaw up in his hands, and he was just like bobbing his head. Right. But Chop Top though, he's definitely like the best character. I mean, this is much less like what I really appreciate about this is every character like is like the main character somehow, you know.
I know. I hear what you're saying. That's I agree.
Yeah, it's like everybody steals the show. Like Chop Top steals the show. Leatherface. I mean, it's about Leatherface, but like, and the scenes that he's in are really impactful, you know. But and then there's Drayton Sawyer, the oldest brother. Then you have Stretch, who is, I'd say, in my opinion, probably my favorite female protagonist or last girl.
Really? Wow, hot take.
Caroline Williams?
Yeah. Well, the character of Stretch is. And I'll get into that in a minute. But, like, she completely steals the show when she's on screen. She's a good actress, I'd say.
She's gorgeous, too.
Yeah, for sure. And then you have Dennis Hopper, who every time he's on scene, it's like you think that this is a Dennis Hopper movie. And... And like everybody is just fantastic. So yeah. So when you say that this is the worst one, do you mean you personally think that you enjoy it less, or are you talking about
No,
from
when
a
I say
technical
like,
standpoint?
so the worst one, I mean
Oh, okay.
obviously not like the worst one to the point where I enjoy it less. I just mean in terms of like
Oh, okay.
production value, set
I
design,
see.
things like
Yeah.
that. I'm not
In
saying
that
I
case,
enjoy it the least. I just mean
I still
out of
don't think it's the worst technically. That there is some like that are worse than that, but I understand what you're saying now. Yeah, it's definitely um probably lower budget and less seriously
yes.
taken. And it's the same
Yes.
director though, Toby Hooper, which is interesting because he did the first one and then he turned around and did this, which is completely off the wall different.
I was gonna yeah, it's hard to believe it's the same director. Like that's the
Hmm.
crazy part. The first one is like a serious slasher horrified. This one is like, what happened? Holy shit.
Dustin, I forgot to ask you how do you rate this one among the other ones?
So part two, uh, from my own personal opinion, I don't think it's the best, but it's a very pinnacle part in all of the movies because part two was more, how would you say, like kind of advertised that in a way where it shot off in the direction where it would never end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So like, how would you say it's okay? So I mean, obviously, it's nothing like the other ones, but as far as your personal favorites go, like from your very favorite to your least favorite, where would you rank it? Like,
Very favorite, it's always going to be the very original, part
okay.
one. Right?
Yeah,
After that,
exactly.
a very uncommon, and some people are going to hate me for this, but part three is actually my second favorite.
I'd say it's underrated for sure.
It's underrated, and it has a large cast of people that we still know today.
Yeah, Ken Foree is in it.
Who?
Ken Foree or Foree.
Oh, right. And Viggo Mortensen from the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
trilogy.
yeah, exactly. Yep. And yeah, Ken Foree, he's in Dawn of the Dead. He's the black guy in that movie.
Right.
And he was just like in a bunch of just movies nobody's heard of, really. A lot of obscure horror movies. And yeah, and then Rob Zombie brought him into Devil's Rejects.
If you're a horror and a nostalgic cult lover, you know of him. He's been in some very pinnacle horror movies from the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
He's definitely in line with people like Bill Moseley and Sid Haig and all those obscure cult favorites.
For sure.
Yeah. So, but my question is, you still haven't answered it. Where do you rank Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2?
Number 2 would come in as my third favorite.
Okay, cool.
And then my fourth jumps all the way to the prequel of the 2003 remake, the beginning.
And that one's got well, I'm blanking on his name. The guy from Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, he's in beginning and the remake, right? I forget his name really too, but if you watch any kind of military movie in the 80s and 90s, he's the one yelling at everybody.
Yep. Oh my god, what is his name?
It's like R.M.E. something.
Let me see your war face. Give me your war face.
Everybody watching this are probably yelling at us right now.
My dad's gonna be yelling at me, that's for sure, if he ever sees this episode.
Okay, well, so anyway, like I said, I find Stretch to be one of my favorite last girls or female horror protagonists, and the reason for that, I mean, she's pretty realistic. I mean, she like holds her own. She's not a damsel in distress. you know. But she's also on the other hand, she's not like too badass that she could just do everything. Like I mean, people like Sigourney Weaver and Alien. Like she's everybody's favorite horror.
yeah. Oh
girl.
Sigourney Weaver, ride or die.
Nice. Well, for those who are listening in and not watching the YouTube, Bree just showed a picture of a tattoo.
That's a perfect comparison because you're talking about like a damsel in distress who's had enough and rises to the occasion to defeat this outrageous scenario.
Yeah. So like, I don't know why I'm forgetting her name, but yeah, Alien, Sigourney Weaver's character.
Ripley.
Thank you. Or like Sarah Connor. Actually, I definitely okay. So Ripley is like the badass who like can go up against the Queen Alien. But I'd say that Stretch is more like a Terminator 1 Sarah Connor. Like she's just like a regular girl who just trying to just make a living, and then this situation comes to her and she almost does not escape. And
she goes to their place by herself.
That's true, but she also almost fails horribly.
Oh yeah. Well, luckily we had Dennis Hopper, so he.
She gets lucky because Dennis Hopper he doesn't save her, but he's a distraction enough for her to get away. Also, she gets lucky that Leatherface just like completely
is horny for her.
Yeah,
we could be real. He is horny for her.
Oh well, I mean that's putting it lightly. I mean, he jizzes himself while he's poking at her vagina with his chainsaw.
Right, and for people who aren't aware, Leatherface is a transgender who takes it to the max. He's
in the fourth film, for sure.
Ed Gein, a real serial killer who wears women's skin.
Oh yes, true.
Ed Gein.
Yeah, Ed
Gein. In the fourth film, I kind of like a lot of people hate the Next Generation because he's cross-dressing throughout that movie, but actually I kind of dig it. Like just for one film where he's just dressed as a woman wearing a woman's face, I don't know, it works for me.
I mean, essentially he cross-dresses in all of them. In the first one,
that's the first one, yeah, he's got
skin has lipstick. He's wearing a woman's face.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, he just does what he feels like, basically. That's
he wants to be a bone chick and then eat them.
Yeah.
You ever play a game called Dead by Daylight? Horror game?
Dustin, I know I've watched you play that game.
I'm playing Dying Light. Dead by Light?
Yeah. Dead by Daylight. It's a kind of like an asymmetrical horror game. It's like one of those, one is a killer and then there's 4 survivors. The killer has to obviously kill the survivors, but they actually got the rights to Leatherface, and if you kill enough people, like of the different characters, you get to earn a trophy and wear their faces.
I've heard about that.
This is a DLC or online.
Yeah, so you have like the base game Dead by Daylight, which comes with like base characters, and then there's a Leatherface DLC, there's a Scream DLC, Saw, there's like a whole bunch of like horror movie DLCs for sure.
That sounds cool. I refuse to play any games online with anyone. I like to play first-person horror games by myself in the dark.
Remind me later to get with you for maybe something coming up, but I don't want to get too much into that right now.
All right.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, like I was saying, I like Stretch a lot because she's like neither the damsel in distress who like needs Dennis Hopper to save her, but she's also not so badass she could. It like doesn't make sense. It's unrealistic. I mean, she's a very realistic protagonist. I'd say. Would you all agree?
I'll give you that. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. And she is still alive, and she does still do movies. and she still looks great.
What else has she been in?
That I can remember off the top of my head, I can't. So obviously, it didn't make that much of an impression. But I did just see her in something recently that she did 2 years ago. It was
I mean, like none of these actors really go on. I mean, they're in a bunch of movies, but they're all very obscure.
I mean, can anyone look at Dennis Hopper in anything and not look at one of his hands to see if he's missing a finger?
What?
You know, because he loses his finger, and Speed he has no pinky or no thumb.
Is that true?
Well, yeah. Have you not seen Speed with Keanu Reeves?
Wait, I'm sorry. I'm having trouble hearing what you're saying. What?
Dennis Hopper is the villain in Speed in 1994
Speed, yes,
Keanu Reeves.
Yes. Speed. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I don't know. You cut off when you said Speed.
Oh, sorry. Well, he has no thumb for whatever reason, and every time he's talking on the walkie-talkie to Keanu, it sticks out like the non-existent sore thumb.
That's pretty good. Okay, yeah. So let's go on to Dennis Hopper. Like he went to say that this is the worst movie he's ever been in. Which is not true.
That's ridiculous. Dennis Hopper, shame on you. Don't talk shit about yourself, man.
Well, yeah. I mean, he went on to do Super Mario Brothers after this.
Yep.
Which I liked him in Super Mario Brothers. He was a pretty good villain. I mean, he's always a good villain. He's Dennis Hopper.
Yeah, he's typecast as a bad guy typically, except for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, obviously. But Waterworld, that's 3 hours of him missing one eye, trying to stick eyeballs in there.
You got Blue Velvet.
Yeah.
Which that's probably his best role. But if he's not a villain, he's just fucking crazy. So like you got him in this movie where he's got the chainsaws and it's just like, I'll tear this place down. It's just like going nuts, just cutting the whole place down with chainsaw. And I love how he has like one like really long chainsaw and then two holstered smaller chainsaws.
Dude,
I figured.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, I figured out why you like this movie so much, Ian, and why you chose this, and it's because there was a chainsaw battle. You and chainsaw battles.
Of course, I know what you're doing here. You're referencing Mandy, which is another movie that I absolutely love. I mean, that was definitely a reference to this movie. 100%.
For sure. Absolutely.
Dustin, you've seen Mandy, right?
Oh, of course. That's a fantastic movie.
Yeah. Yeah. But when you saw the chainsaw fight in that, did you think about this movie?
No, rarely do I start comparing movies. Well,
I mean, come on. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah. But I did want to mention, because we were talking about Dennis Hopper before we lose that, my favorite scene with him in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is when he's buying the chainsaws.
Oh, yeah.
And he's buying them from a shop owner who sells chainsaws. And he's outside with the big one, whacking a log over and over.
Like, yeah, he's not even doing it like you're supposed to. Like, you're supposed to just, like, cut down, but he's just, like, chopping at it like an axe.
You see the owner, like, obviously getting a chainsaw boner. And in the background, he goes, "Oh, my kid, banana."
Yeah, he's just
and
like,
the dramatic music as well.
Yeah, that I would play that scene, but I do not have it, unfortunately.
Damn.
That YouTube didn't have it, but yeah, unfortunately, I don't have any of his scenes. He's pretty great. I like. He's kind of a piece of shit though, because he just he baits Stretch, like he gets her to play the clip of the murder, the chainsaw murder, lure Leatherface and Chop Top, but then he's like not there.
But dude, he totally makes up for it because he finds her in the hole and he goes, "Damn, I used you, girl. Here." And he reaches his hand out, pulls her out of the hole. With
the skeletal hand. Yeah, the skeletal hand that's not gonna hold up.
And then like, yeah, he's always like fucking late to everything. like I mean, he comes to like save her, like be a distraction, but not until right after they would like bust her head open with the sledgehammer. Which I love that scene. It's so psychotic. It's crazy. Like it's just. I mean, obviously that scene was in the first movie, but yeah, they redid it with all the same. Even the grandpa was the same actor, which I would say that. Okay, so on this channel, Infamous Horror. This show is Cold and Trash Horror Movie Grind, right? But there's many other shows in this channel. One of them is Infamous Horror, the podcast, in which the very first episode, those two guys, AC and JK, they got the guy who played the grandfather and interviewed him in their very first episode.
Wow. Definitely, I give that a listen.
He was not very much different from his character. he was just still old and just like kind of mumbling the whole episode. But it was a pretty good episode, though. I'd say I tried to get Jay to join this one, but he did not. But okay, so we talked about Chop Top. We talked about Stretch. We talked about Lefty, who's Dennis Hopper. What was y'all's impression on Drayton Sawyer, the older brother, who's going around chili contests with chili made out of human meat?
The secret's in the meat.
Well, let me tell you something that I find extremely annoying. When he's getting the award, chili is just spilling over his shirt, and I just can't stop looking at that.
Yeah. They put chili in the award itself.
Right, and then she goes and takes to taste it, and there's a fucking finger, and he's like, "Oh, it's a peppercorn."
It's a tooth.
Oh yeah, that's totally a peppercorn.
Yeah. I like he's so just like, it's like the Three Stooges with the three of them. You know, it was kind of like that in the first movie, but definitely way more like that in this one.
They amplified all of their mannerisms in the second one. Just their personalities and personas really were kicked up a notch.
It was like a live action cartoon, basically. Like I was saying, like Chop Top especially, but also Drayton. He's just like, "Oh, you damn boys, you done did it again!" Oh, Bree, what was your reaction to him?
I liked him, just like you said. I really did think he was like the Three Stooges. Like he's the one that's trying to mastermind these plots. He's the one that's having to, clean up their messes.
He's just trying to live his life, really.
He's just trying to feed human meat to the people of northern Texas. I mean, what more could you really want?
Yeah, and then they called him on his house phone in his car.
That's crazy. I like to think car phones were a thing.
Like that wasn't even a car phone. That was a house phone.
Well, I mean, like at the very beginning scene, I was like, "Holy shit, that's a car phone."
Which, I have to say, this is my problem with this movie, is that she wasn't able to hang up on those guys.
Yeah, what was with that? They were like trying to pull all the plugs, and then she's like, hang up, and it's like, come on.
I try to pretend like that didn't happen because it's so ridiculous. I mean, worst case scenario, just flip the breaker and leave.
Yeah, and she keeps like bitching at them because they keep calling her. And she's like, "Okay, you need to hang up now." And then they're like, "No." She's like, "Damn it."
Bright lights, big titties.
I don't want to hear them. I don't want to see them. Yeah, it was like, because I mean the reason why is so we could get the whole murder. Is like that was their thing. It was just like writing the script. Okay, so like, what's to prevent her from hanging up?
Well, you know
Well,
what?
let's
I
skip
think
that
they
part,
could have
not go
gone a
back to
different
it.
route with that because she does want to help. The reason she didn't want to hang up would be because she realizes something terrible is happening. She wants to record it, and that's why she ends up showing it to Dennis Hopper's character.
Right. And but
Plot armor. We'll
Yeah.
roll with that.
It
yeah,
should have, could have, would have. Hey, go back 35 years.
like Toby Hooper writing it, he was probably just like, I'll get back to that later, and he just never did. Yeah. So what I really liked about this movie was the color palette. I say that a lot in these movies because, like, I just, especially, all right, I've actually got the scene right here, actually. So we're in the radio station where Chop Top makes he shows up,
radio ad time.
and it's just
Are you
red.
fucking crazy? We are
It's just
closed.
like murder red
I'll be here
throughout
till
the
tomorrow. You'll have to just come.
screen.
No.
But what I love about it is just like, are you fucking crazy?
Whoa.
Right.
So this is Radioland, huh? The infinite eternal, the waves through the ether fuzz roll on forever.
Let me just see how crazy
What
Chop
that?
Top
I know what
is.
you're thinking. This is weird, huh? But I can handle it.
She is way more calm than I would be to a crazed lunatic in my workplace.
Who is like
You're my
lighting up a co-hater and
Me and Bubba,
digging
my
at
little
his
brother,
scalp
we listen to you every
and
night.
eating his flesh.
Music is my life. You know.
Right here. It's even more red. I like the red kind of shows how dangerous it is. Kind of symbolizes that. Symbolizes my bad.
E-X-I-T. Exit.
Good night.
Oh, good night.
This is probably my favorite part right here.
Oh, absolutely.
Good night.
Good night.
Scratching through his Sonny Bono wig.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Hey, what about my request?
It's like the Tinder date, you know, that just
No.
won't take the hint. Keep saying
Oh
goodnight.
shit, that's good. I like that.
The request record that you honked out today. I love that. Let's see. What was it anyway? The Rambo 3 soundtrack?
I like how he jumps right to Rambo 3. Not Rambo 1. Not Rambo 2. Rambo 3, specifically.
Yeah, I like that too, actually.
Sure would like it. Hey.
And so as it's getting closer, the light is getting more intense and it's more red
You
to
could
symbolize
autograph
danger.
it to a far out fan.
Hey.
Here.
Record vault.
Like,
Oh,
And then,
the golden
yeah.
oldies and maybe the new music.
Gosh! This scene always gets me. I don't know
love
why.
it.
I know it's coming.
Get the girl. Get the girl.
There's this jig. Yeah, that is a jump scare done right.
Yeah.
And then she hits him with the fire extinguisher. I love
It feels
I
kind of
love
like
it.
very reminiscent to the first movie where, you know, Leatherface throws open the iron door and then smacks the guy over the head.
I love that scene so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he
Yep.
just like comes out of nowhere, hits him in the head, done, and then he just shuts that door. And then once you see that door shut, you're like, that guy's done. That's the story of him.
That's the signature of Leatherface slamming the door.
Yeah, like that was done so well. And so so in this one, he just they use a jump scare, which we all like hate jump scares pretty much. I mean, they're lazy, like we all know it. But that one, that was done right, because it's like, so there's this crazy lunatic, obsessed fan, and he's just like super creepy, and he's being weird, and he looks scary, and you have this like intense music in the background, and you think he's about to like attack her. You don't know what he's gonna do. And then all of a sudden, like Leatherface with a chainsaw comes out of nowhere. And it's like, damn, did not see that coming. Yeah, I love that.
I love that part, and I love how Bill Moseley's character, he's eating firm pieces of skin off his head that really makes the atmosphere dark when you realize what he's been picking.
Yeah, because Leatherface hits his plate, and the wig comes off, and you see that he has a metal plate on his head, and he dents it. Actually, I have that scene as well. I think I do.
That's a fantastic scene, because for 5 minutes of the movie, you don't know what the heck he's doing with this, hook that he's heating up.
So I have this scene.
Ow! He did it in my plate! Oh, my brain is burning! Non-flashback! Oh! Ow! Leatherface, you bitch! Oh! Look what you did to my Sonny Bono wig do! Oh, God damn, I can't believe it! You're gonna have to buy me a new plate cover! You have to buy me a new plate cover, Leatherface. Oh, he's gonna send me back to the VA hospital with a dent in my plate. Well, at least you didn't mess me up. Dog wheel hunt! Get that bitch, Leatherface! Get that bitch! Dog wheel hunt!
I love that. Dog wheel hunt. That's such a great, like, I mean, it doesn't really make any sense, but it's so iconic for reasons.
I love that scene. I actually wrote that down as one of the lines that I love. Dog wheel hunt!
Yeah. I mean, it's great. Do you ever listen to Primus?
I used to.
You know that song, Jerry was a race car driver?
I do.
You notice that they use that clip in that song?
I did not.
You never noticed that? Bree, what about you? Have you ever listened to Jerry was a race car driver by Primus?
I'm sure if you played it, I'd recognize it, but if you say the title, I'm going to be like, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. Also, a very quick question round right when I get back. You're like, hey, have you heard this song? What?
Well, I was playing a clip where he hits his head and does his plate, and he says, "Get her, Leatherface! Dog will hunt." So anyway, Primus used that clip in the song "Jerry Was a Race Car Driver." It's like there's a guitar solo, and then it stops, and you hear "Dog will hunt," and then it just like gets back into craziness of that song.
Get that bitch!
Yeah.
Slurp your booty.
So yeah, I like how this movie keeps finding its way into pop culture of one sort of another, from Primus songs to also, funny enough, have either of y'all heard of a band called Corn Bugs?
Nope.
Cannot say I have.
It is a duo between a Buckethead, the great guitarist Buckethead, and Chop Top himself. The character is the singer of Corn Bugs.
Wow.
Bill Moseley teamed up with Buckethead to do not one, but like 3 or 4, maybe even like 5 albums of a band
Wow.
called Corn Bugs, and it's not Bill Moseley and Buckethead. It's Buckethead and Chop Top. Like he's in character the entirety of these albums.
Wow.
And it's not the best, but it's kind of like I appreciate it because it's Chop Top. Here's a clip.
That is quite the title.
He got his arm torn off by a train. Bad idea to grab hold of a freight. Tore it off at the shoulder. Left him lying by the tracks, bleeding like a stuck pig, while his arm rode for free until they pried it off up the line and threw it in the burn barrel. Took him a year to heal on a blood-drenched cot in the Durango, VA. Another year to quit crying for morphine. Got his arm torn off by a train. Stumbled when he grabbed it. Wedged an ankle between tie and track. Something had to give. Oh, Lord. The sound of it was horrible.
And it kind of just goes on like that. All their songs are pretty much like that. It's just pretty much just Buckethead just playing guitar riffs while Bill Moseley as character of Chop Top is just like just saying random things.
The claymation was cool, but I thought the music was terrible.
It's not great.
All right, Ian, I've got a quick lightning round question for you now.
Ah.
All right. Corn Bugs or Christopher Lee's metal band? Who's better?
Well, Christopher Lee's metal band for sure. Absolutely.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I had to reference that since that was my first episode ever with you. Way back when.
Right, yeah.
Dracula
on the old
80.
podcast. Yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I do want to go back and do some more of those old Christopher Lee Dracula movies.
That would be
pretty
fun.
Have you seen those, Dustin?
Dracula?
Like the old Hammer Christopher Lee. Well, he did like 12 of them throughout
I don't know.
the
I'm drawing a
50s up
blank
to
right now.
the 70s.
Wait, you're talking about the original Universal Studios Dracula movie?
Well, not Bela Lugosi or anything, but Christopher Lee.
Peter
Never saw it.
Cushing.
Oh, well, I'll bring you in for that when I do, and then yeah, Christopher Lee did play Dracula in like 12 movies.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Hell yeah, let's do that. But okay, so do either of y'all have anything else to say about this movie? What makes it good? What makes it bad? Campy or anything like?
While it's not my favorite, I'm definitely with you. We kind of discussed this with the last movie we reviewed, Color Out of Space. I love the color palettes. Like that makes a huge difference for movies with me. This one's pretty. Just like in that one, scene, it's not just like the red, but it's also like the pinks.
Yeah.
Slight little bit of purple, the greens. I like it. That's why I'm not gonna say it's like a terrible movie.
This one is definitely more in your face about it.
Yeah.
Which I actually really enjoy.
Yes, absolutely.
Another movie we did on this show was Swamp Zombies 2, which was really in your face like that. Yeah. I love it.
This movie is a good example of a commercial version of a cult movie that got a lot of attention.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, let's go ahead and go on to the next segment, which is the prompts that I gave y'all, which we do every episode. I mean, obviously they made more sequels and prequels and remakes and reboots, and they just keep on doing it. It just keeps on. But if you personally could do one, what would it be like, and who would be involved? I've got a couple of ideas myself. One I really want to see is actually a direct sequel to this, but it's actually a sitcom. It's all the same characters. You got the Sawyer family. You got Leatherface, Chop Top. You got Drayton. You got Grandpa. You got, but also Lefty and Stretch are in there. But it's a sitcom. It's like an 80s or 90s sitcom that they move out. They all move into an apartment in New York, and they're just like trying to live their life in New York, but Chop Top and Leatherface keep accidentally murdering people, and it's like, oh, you boys, you done did it again. And and then you have the laugh track, and Lefty keeps like ringing the doorbell, and they answer the phone, and he's there, and I'm just like, woo. But for some reason, Stretch is there because she went crazy at the end of the movie, so she's now part of the family. She's like trying to get away, but like they don't let her. And so every episode is like that they accidentally kill somebody and they try to get away from it, and it kind of writes itself, really.
Sounds great, man.
Like, I would love to see a Texas Chainsaw Massacre sitcom. It would be fantastic, especially since we said there are already like 3 stages. Dustin, what about you? Do you have any ideas?
Oh man, I'm like beyond. I wrote a script.
Nice.
And
what do you got?
Actually, a sequel to Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is exactly where I would be going from.
Okay, let me cut you off. For those who don't know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, called Leatherface, has nothing to do with number 2. It's a completely different movie. Like, it's a different family. But Leatherface isn't even called Bubba. They call him Junior. It's completely different. It's just Leatherface is in it. That's the only thing that ties into it. Anyway, go on.
Okay, so this would be a true third installment to Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, and it would be taken to present day. No one exists. The only character that would still exist would be Caroline Williams, who plays Stretch, and I would want her to come back. And so in part 2, it is suggested that Leatherface actually does have sex with her at one point. The brother said, if you wanted to know about sex, you should have asked me. I would have taught you. So you need to decide, is it going to be sex or the saw? Well, I wanted there to be, although you never saw that, there was time where he was alone with Stretch, where he actually had sex with her. Now, 35 years later, she was impregnated and has had struggles with raising a child who somehow, through like genes, has instinctively attracted to, murder and until he eats a chainsaw one day. And she's struggling to keep him from those urges, but ultimately it ends with him, having the instinct to kill with a chainsaw, just like his dad. And then the movie would ultimately end with, the saw truly is family.
That you actually kind of tied that in with number 3, because in 3 he does have a daughter.
Right.
So it was nice. So so instead of 3, it would be like its own movie that's kind of similar to that. That's pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah. I would like to see that.
Cool.
Bree, how about you?
All right, got a question for you. Apart from rebooting, what was Hollywood doing with 80s horror movie icons in the early 2000s?
So like, are you talking about the characters?
Yeah, what were they doing with them?
Other than, they definitely absolutely rebooted them. That's for sure.
They're making them fight. Alien vs. Predator. Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah, true.
Here.
Okay.
That's my pitch. Rob Zombie comes back, and he decides to do his own versus plot. Sawyer family versus Firefly family.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's a no-brainer.
Easy,
That would be
easy.
amazing.
Like, I mean, just let Rob Zombie do his thing. Let him take the reins. I mean, these are two completely sadistic, brutal families. Make them fight to the death.
Yeah, Chop Top versus Otis. I'd
Yeah.
love to see that. Actually, those two wouldn't even fight. That would be
The
that would make
comedic
friends.
relief, for sure.
Uh,
They're
that-
just
that-
talking to each other, making
They're
commentary.
like, "Hey, I like you." Yeah, like Leatherface versus Tiny.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a third one for you, a
Ooh,
third family. If you go back to a previous episode we did, Skin Deep. Have y'all seen Skin Deep?
I have not, actually. I'm sorry.
It
Let you
sounds
down.
vaguely familiar. You have to throw a couple lines at me or a scenario.
It was very obscure. It kind of came out of nowhere. It came out 1 year after House of a Thousand Corpses, and it's basically House of a Thousand Corpses, aka it's basically Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. It's the same thing. As a girl gets abducted by this crazy family, and all of the characters have like weird, like that. They're all their own character. Like there's a Leatherface. There's one character played by Warwick Davis. His name is Plates. He throws plates at people, dinner plates.
Warwick Davis.
And there's like, yeah, it's exactly like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. It's exactly like House of a Thousand Corpses. So like 3 of them, that would be pretty good.
Okay.
I definitely
full
did
on
see
battle
it.
royale.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, of course. Yeah, you gotta have the two connect because that's perfect.
We just gotta revive Sighade. We just gotta bring him back from the
Oh,
dead
man.
somehow.
That was, yeah. Rest in peace to that guy, man. That guy was great.
Facts.
Not only was he in like movies like that, but he was also in he was in a bunch of exploitation movies.
Especially the blaxploitation with
Yeah.
Foxy Brown. Oh yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Foxy Brown and Coffee, and yeah, he was all throughout the 60s, 70s, and 80s, maybe even late 50s. He was in a bunch of movies. Yeah. Which of course, 3 from Hell was terrible because they had to rush it as he was dying while they were filming it. So
Yeah.
like 3 from Hell could have been a lot better, but it was just unfortunate timing. And so Rob Zombie was rushed to like change the script because Captain Spaulding was supposed to be in it a lot more. I was really just
Too little, too late. They shouldn't have done it.
Yeah, not necessarily disappointed, but like I was really sad when I saw 3 from Hell because it had so much potential. It was just so bad.
I mean, dude, they filmed the guy dying.
Yeah, true. Because they took Captain Spaulding, all of his scenes, and then they just like made up a new character and gave him those scenes. And it's like, oh yeah, there's another brother who we haven't seen in these other movies. But anyway, I'll go to another idea pitch that I had. So at the end of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, we see Stretch. She's gone crazy. She has the chainsaw. She kind of does Leatherface's thing that he did in the end of the first one. So this kind of goes to show that she's lost her mind. She's crazy. So I would love to see a Stretch horror movie where she's now not Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but like her own horror movie where she's just the villain and she's on a rampage. And maybe she's trying to go back to living a good life, but like she has so much crazy PTSD, she goes off on a crazy murder spree, which kind of like what they were trying to do in Friday the 13th with Tommy Jarvis that they never really did.
Yeah.
You know,
has there ever been a movie with like a final girl turning into the villain?
I don't think so.
That's such a cool idea. Why don't we
It's
get hired?
been attempted, and in the Halloween franchise also. In part 4, it ends with the cousin, the little girl, with a knife in her hand, making a kill, and you're like, okay, so part 5, she's gonna be the killer, and they just blow it off like it never happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was 4
That's
seasons
that's
of
the
which?
thing. Like everybody has. No, that's 3.
That's 3. Yep. What the fuck? Was 4?
Everybody has to like play it safe. You know that you have to do the formula, and yeah, it would be cool if like one of these days you'd have the final girl become the villain of the next one. I don't know, but make it happen, somebody, please. All right. Well, I guess let's go ahead and rate this now. So Dustin, you're new to this, so the way we rate it is 1 out of 10, or whatever out of 10. But instead of like stars or whatever, it's something that sticks out, like chainsaws. Like
Right.
So for me, like I love it. I mean, if you take it technically, production value and everything is definitely much lower on the scale. But we're rating on our own personal enjoyment. Rate it how you enjoy this movie. So for me, I love it to death. Like not only is it fun to watch, but it also influenced another one of my favorite horror movies, and it's made its way into music, like Primus, for example, and yeah, so like it's very influential. Cult classic. I'll give it 9 9 faces cut off of somebody that Leatherface lets Stretch wear.
The fact that she kept that face on while she was still talking.
Well, she was tied down though.
But I mean, while she was just come on.
That was we didn't even talk about that. That was such a
So fucked
psychotic
up.
moment. Yeah, where he cuts off her friend's face, by the way, her boss and her friend, and he forces it. I said he lets her. I mean, really, in his mind, he's like, "Here, I'll let you wear this face. This is what I like." So not many people do that, but in reality, he was very much forcing her to wear. Bree, how about you?
I don't hate it. I actually do enjoy it. The production value is lower. It's not the first movie, but I do enjoy it. I love the one-liners. Obviously, I'm a one-liner lover. I'm wearing a Dead Alive shirt.
Yeah.
What can I
Which
say?
is a very similar movie to this one, I'd say.
It is. It's very much.
Oh,
similar.
you know what? Actually, I just remembered. I don't think it was this movie. No, it wasn't this movie, but it was another one of the sequels. I think the 4th one. It was either the 3rd one or the 4th one where they actually approached Peter Jackson to direct. But
maybe that's a movie plot that we actually need instead of a Leatherface directed by Peter Jackson. That'd be pretty sick.
Right. But anyway,
but overall, I do like it. I do like it a lot. And so for that, I will give it 6 people unknowingly feasting on human meat through chili.
Nice. Okay, cool. Dustin, what do you got?
8 chainsaws.
You could be more. All right, 8 chainsaws. Cool.
Oh, you want me to elaborate?
Or well, actually, yeah. Let me know like how you think about it overall.
Okay, I took a lot of things into consideration. If I'm thinking about just the enjoyment and the fun that you could have watching it, and if you like horror movies, you could easily just give it a 7 on the slasher part of it alone. But the quirkiness and the chemistry between all of the actors, how they work together, easily gives it another star. And I would give it a 9th chainsaw because of its importance. It did set the tone for hundreds of movies. And, and it's just when people think about horror movies now, if that's not a movie that that comes to your mind when you're thinking about horror movies in general, that you haven't been watching them for very long, because it's just it started a whole waterfall effect of slasher movies. Yeah, there were some before, but it just started a rampage of those types of films.
Mm-hmm.
It still happens.
Absolutely. All right, cool. Well, yeah, that'll do it for this episode. Now to tease next week's episode, which I've actually secretly have been doing all along. We are. I've got another clip. So this is House of 1,000 Corpses, directed by Rob Zombie.
Speaking of Sickade.
Yeah.
Keep your paws where I can see. Yeah, don't move. I'll blast the holes the size of a Kansas
Like
City
his
bullet.
performance here is so good.
Bozo face! What the fuck is that supposed to mean? Go grab that other asshole out of the shitter and drag his ass back in here. Right.
I'd say that this is probably his best movie that Sid Haig has ever been in.
I ought to jump over this counter and bash your fucking balls in.
All right.
Maybe Devil's Rejects.
Hand over the
It's
cash
hard to
box
tell.
And I might leave your brains inside your skull.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ski King. Why don't you just take your mama home some chicken, and then I won't have to stuff my boot all up in your ass.
I laugh at that every time.
Chicken, and I hate clowns.
Get all this. Here, I got all this.
Put that shit down.
All right.
Put it down. Fuck. Oh, that is it. I'm gonna count to 10, and you're gonna hand over all the cash, or I'm gonna splatter your grease paint mug across the state line. 1.
Fuck your mama.
2.
Fuck your sister.
What are we gonna do?
Hey, I know you. You work at the hardware store, right? Richard Wick, right?
Shut your trap. Quiet down, both of you. 3.
Fuck your grandma.
Yeah, I remember now. All the guys made fun of you. Call you Little Dick Wick.
Shut up.
Little Dick Wick, play with his brick. Don't the smell just make it sick?
It's supposed to be
Chaotic.
intense and scary, but yeah. And then they're just being distracted by every little thing. It's like just the epitome of a robbery gone wrong.
Do you think Ryan Reynolds got inspired by that for Deadpool?
Oh, possibly. And this guy right here, I've seen him in a bunch of movies too.
First of all, fuck you.
Yeah. That of course is House of 1,000 Corpses. Which, I mean, if I'm going to do Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, you got to do the one that comes after it, House of 1,000 Corpses, and so we will. But we'll compare the two, see how they do side by side, and Bree, you'll be here for that one, I believe.
I will.
And we'll also have special guest will be the ladies from Let's Scream podcast, which is another show on this channel, Infamous Horror, where they mostly talk about women in horror films, women directors as well as actors and stuff. So if you listen to the first episode, they kind of geeked out about these movies, Rob Zombie's movies and Sherry Moon and everything. So I was like, that's a good tie-in right there. And right here you have the classic Dustin in the face that he always makes. Be sure to check out your Tap Waters Crap if you're looking to again, like, get into the whole aquarium business.
I appreciate it, but really nobody's going to check it out. They find me on their own if you actually like fish in aquarium.
All right, cool. Well, like I said, that will do it for this episode. Dustin, thank you for joining.
Hey, I had fun, man. It was great to see you again. I haven't seen you face to face in years.
It has been many years since we've last seen each other. But a lot of good times. Thank you so much for introducing me not only to this movie, but like many, many others like it. I mean, I would not even have this show if it weren't for you, personally.
Hey, it's my pleasure. And I had fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, we'll try to bring you in for more. I'll definitely bring you in for all the movies I covered that you introduced me to, and definitely that Dracula too. Whenever I do that, and then Bree, again, you know, you've been on here 100 times already. We haven't done 100 episodes yet, but
It's always a pleasure. Thank you
Yeah.
once again for having me. I'm glad I got to see this movie again. It was a lot of fun for sure.
Hell yeah, cool. Well, yeah, Bree, I'll see you next time.
For
Dustin,
sure.
I'll see you down the road. And yeah, so take it easy, everybody. And yeah, so that'll be it.